waking up in Takamatsu, I'm currently on Shikoku Island, the least visited major region in the country. Today I'm setting sail for Shodoshima, one of Setouchi's largest islands, to seek adventure. I left my hotel for the Shodoshima ferry. There is a high-speed ferry and a regular one, and my JR pass allows me to take one of them for free. I dare you to take a wild guess. The slow ferry was great. Comfortable seats, wide and clear windows, a large observation deck to feel the sea breeze. The ride took 1 hour, and there's not much to do other than dozing off to the sound of the waves. But it's not a bad thing to take it slow when you are cruising through the sun-blessed Seto Inland Sea. Arriving at Tonosho Port on Shodoshima Island, I plan to head straight for Kankakei Gorge National Park, the tallest mountain region overlooking Shodoshima and the inland sea to the south. Since I don't have a Japanese driver's license, I had to take the bus.
Here we go again.
Now if you find buses in Kyoto confusing, you're in for a treat. Google Maps don't work here. We're going old school.
Huh?
You have to go to their website, figure out the routes and transfers for your destination, and download the timetable for each route you want to take. Sounds doable? Well, here's the fun part. The timetable doesn't have a single word of English, and you have to find the characters that match the stops you're going to make. But even finding the right bus is only half the battle. The buses are not as frequent as you might think. For even the most frequent routes, there is only one bus every 40 minutes, and it goes way lower for the others. That can lead to some dreadful waiting times if you arrive at the wrong hour, like I did. It was 1:30 p.m. when I hopped off the bus from Tonosho Port to Kusakabe Port, where I will take the connecting bus to my final destination at the foot of the gorge. But the bus won't be here until 2:25, so I waited and waited. After nearly an hour's wait, the bus finally came. We wound our way uphill to the foot of the gorge and took the ropeway to the top. Finally, after nearly 5 hours of transit, this is the reward for my gauntlet. It wasn't red leaf season yet, but there were already patches of red here and there. If you come here during the red leaf season, I'd imagine it will be even better. I admired the view for a bit before realizing that I needed to head down for the last bus back to the port, or I'll get stuck here for the night. So I took the ropeway and headed down. Luckily, there was not much waiting on the way back, and I arrived at the port at 6 p.m., and the ferry was another 40 minutes away. So I sat down by the sea and started to get buried in thoughts. I set off for my journey this morning at 10 o'clock, and will probably get back to the hotel at 8. It will be a 10-hour trip, but the Kankakei Gorge is the only destination that I have in fact reached. Could I have planned it better? Maybe, if I didn't take for granted that the buses would work like they do in Kyoto, I could totally have studied the bus routes in advance and devised the most efficient route from the port to the Nakayama terraced rice fields, to the Olive Garden, to all the places that I didn't get to visit. But was the trip worth it? I'd say yes. An adventure is more about the journey than the destination. I've always enjoyed being a stranger in a strange country, the trains I've missed, the walks I've walked, the bus stops I've waited at, the people I've met and will never meet again in this life. All of them are fresh and vivid fragments that will become memories. Also, if by not visiting some of the places I was given a reason to come back again in the future, I'll happily accept it. I think you will all agree. The plan for the 4th day into my trip was to transfer for Shimonada, the spirited away station, before heading back to Matsuyama for the night. I left Takamatsu early, exchanged a ticket for Matsuyama. The ride took 2.5 hours, and I arrived at Matsuyama at around 11. However, finding the next train isn't easy. Shimonada is in a more or less secluded rural region. Sometimes you'll need to take a leap of faith about which train to hop onto. And yes, that means you can and will guess wrong.
Guess they'll never learn.
The train took me north, and when I realized I'm moving in the wrong direction, I hopped off and thinking it's no biggie, I'll just take the next train back. But turns out, that is 40 minutes later. Worse yet, neither I nor the Japanese Oni-san stuck here with me knew which platform the train will arrive at. Both tracks seem bidirectional, and the Mitsuhama Station that we are stuck at is unfortunately unmanned. When the train finally showed up, it was another leap of faith. Luckily, it was the right train. I finally got back to Matsuyama Station and boarded the train bound for Shimonada at 12:30. You could tell the train was old, but it had that nostalgic charm. We rolled westwards, away from the buzz of civilization. The train driver was doing the iconic point and calling gestures, and you can tell the guy takes immense pride in what he does, and I respect him for that. It wasn't long before the sea could be seen directly from the windows, and I knew we weren't far from our destination. Stepping off the train at Shimonada, this was the view from the platform. The station itself is surprisingly small, just the platform and a tiny ticket office sitting in the middle of nowhere, and there's no public transport other than itself. The next train back is 2 hours away, so I wandered around, enjoyed a sunny day's walk to the minuscule Shimonada town nearby, and headed back to Matsuyama when the next train arrived. After many hours spent trying to get to Shimonada and back, it was nearly dawn when I returned to Matsuyama, meaning sadly, no time to explore the city. But I did manage to dip into the hot spring, a local speciality at Dormy Inn Matsuyama where I stayed at. The hotel offers a gorgeous partially open-air bath with a sauna. You get to unwind after a day of exploring and rinse off the fatigue. I would highly recommend this hotel to anyone planning to visit the city. As you can see, these past 2 days have been a roller coaster of memorable moments, but also plagued by some transport nightmares. I got too used to the city convenience to realize transport can be a whole different game outside the big cities. So, my advice is if you plan to be a little bit more adventurous than usual, and journey beyond Tokyo or Kansai to explore the more rural areas of Japan, and you don't have a Japanese driver's license, you should not only plan your means of travel ahead, but know precisely which train or bus at what time you're taking. Public transport options outside the bigger cities could be a lot more limited than you might think. You will thank me later. Finally, a quick review of the costs. With the Setouchi area pass, the ferry to and from Shodoshima, the train to Matsuyama, and the train to and from Shimonada were all free. The total savings I've received from the pass is now 22,720 yen in total. That's 120% of the pass price. Hooray!
Wow!
The only transport expense for the last 2 days was the one-day bus pass for Shodoshima, which cost me 1,000 yen. With the regional JR pass, I'm pretty much traveling for free. That's insane. Tomorrow I plan to cross the Seto Inland Sea again through the legendary Shimanami Kaido and explore probably one of my favorite cities in Japan. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Stay tuned. Bye.